Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into a song that, well, it's just become an absolute touchstone for standing up for yourself.
Hmm.
You know, for rejecting the mold, declaring your independence when things get tough.
Definitely. We're talking about Jimi Hendrix's classic, If Six Was Nine. Just undeniably iconic.
And to kind of guide us through this, we've got some good source material.
Yeah, we've pulled mainly from the Genius lyrics page for the song. Gives us the words, obviously, but also some essential background and context.
Right, and there's a little snippet from a YouTube transcript, too.
Yep, just to give a bit of flavor how it sounds, the raw delivery and performance.
Cool. So our mission, basically, is to really get inside this track.
Understand what makes its message tick.
Yeah, and figure out why, I mean, decades later, it still hits so hard as this anthem of, well, individualism.
It's definitely more than just amazing guitar work, though that's there too. It's a statement, right? Rooted in its time. But the themes,
Mm,
they feel incredibly now.
totally. So let's start with the basics, drawing from those sources. The song is If Six Was Nine.
By the Jimi Hendrix Experience, of course.
And the sources tell us where it sits on the album.
Right. Track 7, second album, Axis, Bold as Love. That came out December 1st, 1967.
Okay, so late 67. And production stuff.
Uh-huh. Genius page notes. Chas Chandler producing, Eddie Kramer engineering. Recorded over at Olympic Studios in London. Standard stuff for them then.
Got it. And there's a key piece of cultural context the source mentions. Something about a movie.
Oh yeah, crucial bit. Its inclusion in the Easy Rider soundtrack in 1969.
Right. Easy Rider. I mean, that film is the counterculture spirit of freedom, rebellion.
Exactly. So putting If Six Was a Nine in that movie just, like, amplified its message massively. Reached a huge audience that was already thinking about those things.
So it wasn't just, hey, cool song for the movie.
No. It was like pairing this powerful individualist statement with a film exploring the very same ideas. It really cemented the song's identity.
Which brings us right to the core interpretation that our sources highlight. This song is seen as, well, an individualist anthem.
Yeah, that's the main takeaway. And Genius is clear. This theme takes a lot of inspiration from the whole counterculture movement that was really bubbling up in the 60s.
It's grounded in history, not just abstract philosophy.
Right, and the sources talk about this underlying conflict that's central to the song.
Okay.
It describes this clash between, well, the hippies representing that counterculture and the white-collar conservatives.
Ah, the establishment figures, the business world, the sort of conventional way of life.
Pretty much. That tension is the backdrop. The song's individualism isn't just floating out there. It's a direct reaction to, perceived pressure and judgment from that dominant culture.
Okay, this is great context. Let's get into the lyrics themselves now, because that's where the real power is. The source gives us the full text. Verse 1 kicks things off. Wow. If the sun refused to shine, I don't mind, I don't mind.
Yeah, and if mountains fell into the sea, I don't mind, I don't mind.
Then the kicker. I got my own world to look through. And I ain't gonna copy you.
The scale of those first lines is wild, isn't it? He starts with these huge, cosmic disasters. Sun going out, mountains collapsing.
Total chaos scenarios.
Right. Disruptions on the biggest possible scale. But his reaction, super calm, I don't mind. Almost indifferent.
It's like he's saying, okay, let the world outside fall apart, let reality flip upside down. It suggests this, incredible inner strength.
Mm-hmm. An identity so rooted inside himself that external chaos just doesn't shake him.
Which leads right into the core message.
Exactly. Right after that, he says, why? I got my own world to look through, and I ain't gonna copy you.
That resilience, it's tied directly to having his own perspective, his own internal world.
And refusing to just adopt someone else's view.
It's a declaration of independence from being defined by the outside.
That line, I ain't gonna copy you, it's so blunt. Not much room for interpretation there.
None. It's direct, almost confrontational. Rejects conformity right off the bat. Sets the stage for everything else. Okay, so verse 2. This is where the title comes in, that weird phrase. It goes, now, if 6, hey, turned out to be 9. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Right, and then, if all the hippies cut off all their hair, I don't care. I don't care, dig, because I got my own world to live through, and I ain't gonna copy you.
So if 6 turned out to be 9, what's that about? It's pretty abstract.
Yeah, it's brilliant imagery, often read as a metaphor for a radical shift in how you see things.
It's like reality itself changing.
Or your perception of it, yeah. Things you thought were fixed suddenly being totally different, maybe even the opposite. Like, objective truth is kind of up for grabs.
And still, same response. I don't mind. He can handle a world where the rules change.
But this verse adds something really important, a layer that sometimes gets missed. He says, if all the hippies cut off all their hair, I don't care. I don't care.
Okay, that is interesting, because you might think the song is just, counterculture versus the suits.
Right. But
Yeah.
here he's saying his individualism isn't even about conforming to his own group's look or norms.
The long hair, the hippie style, that was their uniform, in a way.
Exactly. It was a symbol of that identity.
Yeah.
So by saying he wouldn't care if that disappeared, he's declaring independence not just from the white-collar conservatives.
But potentially from his own scene's expectations, too.
Precisely. His own world to live through isn't about which group he belongs to. It's not reliant on group affiliation, not about following a new set of rules.
So that ain't gonna copy you isn't just aimed outwards, it's universal for him.
Yeah, it elevates it. It's not just protesting for a group. It's about this deep personal autonomy. True individualism goes beyond tribes.
Wow, okay. That's powerful. It's not about swapping one uniform for another.
Right. It's about an internal state that doesn't need any external group identity to validate it. That nuance is key.
Really deepens the whole thing. Okay, let's hit the bridge. This is where he directly confronts those establishment figures, and the YouTube transcript gives us a sense of the delivery.
Yeah, this part. White-collared conservatives flashing down the street, pointing their plastic finger at me.
Oof, pointing their plastic finger at me.
The imagery is so sharp. White-collared conservatives instantly paints that picture. Flashing down the street, maybe hurried, aggressive.
And plastic finger, what does that evoke? It sounds fake.
Yeah, artificial, maybe cold, unfeeling, rigid, definitely judgmental, like a symbol of this hard judgment aimed right at him, lacking real human understanding.
And the hostility is intense. They're hoping soon my kind will drop and die.
Yeah, it's not just disapproval, it's presented as this, existential threat, wishing his whole way of being would just cease to exist.
But his response isn't fear.
Not at all, it's the counterpunch. But I'm gonna wave my freak flag high, hi-ow.
Waving my freak flag high. That phrase is legendary now. What does it really mean here?
It's the ultimate defiance, right?
Yes.
Unapologetic self-expression. The freak flag is his true self, his uniqueness, all the things that might get labeled weird or unconventional by those conservatives.
And waving it high.
Means not hiding it, not being ashamed, proudly showing who you are, despite the judgment, despite them wishing you disappear.
So it's not quiet nonconformity. It's loud, visible.
Absolutely. And thinking about that YouTube transcript flavor, those little hesitations, maybe an or before, and that ow at the end.
What does that add?
It's not just reciting a line. It's raw, felt emotion. The could be gathering himself before the big declaration. The owl feels like this burst of energy, maybe defiant, maybe a little pained even, after stating such a bold thing against that hostility.
Makes it feel less like a polished speech, more like a real gut-level reaction.
Exactly. Visceral. An outburst of, this is me. The delivery makes you feel the weight behind it, the personal passion.
Like he's waving that flag with real force.
Totally. Fueled by that tension he just described.
Okay, finally. Verse 3. It circles back and kind of gives the ultimate reason for all this. Go ahead on, Mr. Businessman. You can't dress like me, yeah.
He calls out the Mr. Businessman again.
Eh.
Acknowledges the surface difference, the clothes.
But then moves deeper. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
That line's interesting. It suggests his inner world, his perspective, isn't easily understood by others, especially the opposition.
Yeah.
There's an internal truth they just can't access.
And that leads to the core argument, right? The justification for it all.
Yes, the most profound, maybe the most unarguable point. I've got my own life to live. I'm the one that's going to have to die when it's time for me to die.
And therefore.
So let me live my life the way I want to, yeah.
It's presented as just fundamental truth. My life, my death, so my choices.
Exactly. It's autonomy based on the most personal reality there is. Since I face the consequences of living and dying, the freedom to choose how I live becomes like a self-evident right.
The individual is the ultimate authority over their own existence, non-negotiable.
You got it. That's the bedrock of his stance.
So bringing it all together, our sources really paint If 6 Was 9 as this incredibly potent individualist anthem.
Yeah, born from that specific 60s conflict, counterculture versus establishment.
Using these vivid lyrics to show resilience, I don't mind, self-reliance, my own world, defiance, plastic finger, freak flag high.
And that ultimate justification, based on life and death, it captures that timeless push and pull between conforming and being authentic.
It was a snapshot of its time, but the core struggle, That persists, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Which is why it still connects today. The specific groups might change, the uniforms might look different.
But we still face those pressures, right?
Mhm.
Social expectations, work norms, even fitting in with our own chosen group sometimes.
Definitely. That idea of having your own world to look through
Hmm.
and refusing to just copy, it's still a challenge. It's still necessary.
It makes you think about that whole dynamic in your own life. Where does that tension play out for you? The white-collared conservatives versus the freak flag.
Where do you feel the pressure to conform? And how do you push back? How do you live life the way you want to?
The song kind of asks you to identify your own freak flag.
And consider if you're waving it high enough.
Hmm. So yeah, this deep dive really unpacked it, the song's origins, its status as this individualist anthem from the 60s.
And how those specific lines, refusing to copy, waving the freak flag, build this message of defiance, autonomy, and ultimately self-acceptance that still resonates.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that fight for personal freedom isn't just out there, politically or socially.
It's internal, too. A constant choice to be authentic in a world that often pushes back.
And it leaves you with that really compelling thought, straight from the song's logic. If your life is yours to live, and your death is yours alone to face.
Then what external pressure, what demand to conform could possibly be more important than your right to live that life exactly the way you want to? Something to really chew on.